I'll be discussing the agricultural science CSEC class paper. The first question is, name two general non-chemical methods of controlling pests and disease in vegetable. So two of those methods would be, which are non-chemical, would be crop rotation and introducing and encourage parasites, predators, disease, organism, and other natural enemies of the pest. And that would be 4 marks. So the next question is, a group of farmers in the Caribbean invited their agricultural extension officers to discuss the issues of global warming. As the agricultural extension officer, explain to the farmers 3 ways in which global warming is likely to affect crops and livestock activities. So three ways in which global warming could affect crops and livestock activity, and that is 3 ways, and this would be: 1, a rising sea level causing loss of coastal land areas and affecting agricultural, fishery, and community life. 2, this could increase temperature, which helps some crops to grow but prevent optimum growth in other crops. So the next one would be more frequent droughts affecting water available for both domestic and agricultural use. And global warming is basically a change, activities that causes change in the atmosphere. So the next question is, name 4 of the major stages in marketing agricultural produce. And marketing is basically things that you do to promote your crops, or things that you do to encourage and to make sure that the crop is still on the market. So 4 of these major stages is pricing, advertising. The pricing is important because if the price is too high, then less person will buy the item if they have other items that they can buy. If the price is low, then chances are persons will buy these items because it is at a reasonable cost. And advertising is important because when you advertise, person will know that the crop is available here or there. Labeling and packaging is the next one, and distribution. So labeling and packaging is basically how you, is a form of marketing, is how you see the product or the item. So if you see a package or a label and it look interested, even if what's inside is not really interested, it will want you to buy that product. But if the label is not attractive, then you want to look for the one that is more attractive. So the next one is distribution, right? So this distribution has to do with how you hand out, or the person that you give your product to, or the person that you sell your product. Because if there's a market, for instance, in St. Anne Farm, for instance, a cabbage, then you'll want to go to St. Anne to distribute your product, right? So if you know that person's over there like cabbage, you want to go there to sell a cabbage than to go to maybe St. Mary to sell the cabbage when there's not a market there. So the distribution is important and how you distribute it. So the next question is, advise a farmer on one measure that can be taken to reduce post-harvest loss in their sweet pepper. So one measure could be, you could, and post-harvest is after your plants and your harvesting. So one measure could be, you could use larger basket trays and crate for packaging. Like for example, when you're reaping maybe tomato are very delicate, so you would want to use like a larger container to, like when you're reaping them from the field to transport them, you'd want maybe a larger container to transport the goods. Chances are if you use a smaller container, this will squeeze up the vegetables, so we want to use larger container. Yes. So number 4 is, what is meant by the term organic farming? And organic farming is where natural methods are used to control pests and disease. These methods include well-designed crop rotation, using natural predators, and developing good soil and healthy crops that have a natural resistance to pests and disease. So organic farming is basically growing crops without using chemical. You use natural things to grow the crop. Like for example, you can use compost or you can use farmyard manure. Those are some of the examples. So for B, Farmer Jane planned to extend her cultivation from 5 acres to 20 acres. She was advised by the Agricultural Extension Officer to purchase a tractor, seeder, and sprayer to assist in the day-to-day farm operation. Discuss 3 advantages that the farmer could obtain from the use of the above machinery. So 3 advantages would be the fact that you are using a tractor. So a tractor would be more useful than human being or manual labor. It could do more work. And 3 of these advantages, more work will be done. Work will be done at a shorter time and less manual work needed. And number 5 is a typical diagram of a soil. And it said name the layer label in I and 2. 1 and 2. So the top layer would normally be the litter layer. And after the litter layer, you would have the A horizon, which is a zone of leaching or eluviation, and the third layer would be the B horizon, which is a zone of accumulation or eluviation. And then after that, you would have the parent material. So those are the layers of a soil profile. Good morning, Shanae Brown. How are you doing over that side? Hope everything is okay with you. So the next question is, give 2 reasons for the importance of litter. And the litter is the top layer of the soil profile. So 2 important reasons of the litter is, 1, it reduces soil erosion, and 2, it adds nutrients to the soil. Number 5C. Farmer Winston plants his vegetable in a relative dry and very sandy soil. Production is low despite adequate level of fertilizer. Advise the farmer on 2 measures he could adopt to increase his production. Alright, 1, you could mulch the soil, and 2, you could add some loam soil. When you add mulch or organic matter, it kind of gives the soil more body. It helps to keep the nutrient that is in the soil together, and it helps to keep the soil moist, right? Unlike sandy soil that is easily leached because the soil particles are larger. So most of the time, the nutrients and water will leach to the soil. So they can add loam soil. The loam soil has basically the sand, the silt, and the clay, and it is more. It is It has that capacity to hold the right amount of water, the right amount of nutrients, and it doesn't leach like the sandy soil. So number 6, it says, name 2 vegetable crops that are normally planted using nursery bed or seedling tray. So 2 of those would be carrots and callaloo. So my 6B says, name two vegetable crops that are usually planted directly in a prepared field. And prepared field meaning that it is not planted in the seed tray or in the seed bed. That means you plant the seed directly outdoor. And those two crops could be those two vegetable crops could be cucumber and pumpkin because they are both vegetable. Alright, 6C says, Farmer John prepared his nursery box using a mixture of soil and bagasse and planted recently purchased seeds. The germination rate was good. However, after 14 days, numerous plants died and only a few were available for transplanting. So the question says, give 3 reasons for the loss of seedling. And it said, it used soil and bagasse and planted. He said the germination rate was good, so there was not a problem with the germination. So, however, after 14 days, numerous plants died and only a few were available for transplanting. One could be that pests eat some of them. Two, they weren't watering the crop. And three, the seedlings weren't transplanted quickly enough, so they died. Number 7 said, list 4 benefits to be derived from proper weed control. And weed is any unwanted plant growing in an environment. So if you are planting corn in that field and there is peas growing there, then the peas would be the weed. So you have to remove the weed, and so the corn will be the plant growing there. So it's a list 4 benefits to be derived from proper weed control. So when you have proper weed control, you could have the plants be more healthier, they get more nutrients and more water, and also they will have more space to grow. So those are 4 benefits of weed control. So the next question is, an agricultural extension officer advised a farmer cooperative that the continual growing of vegetable crop in one area is not advisable. The farmer were advised that they must practice crop rotation. Discuss 3 reasons why crop rotation should be used. Okay, so when a farmer plants crop on one plot of land over a period of time, it removes the nutrients that are there. So the next plant that you or the next crop that you plant, you would be adding more, like you would be adding fertilizer to give the land that amount of nutrient, because the plant that you plant every time or the crop that you plant every time, it is actually removing some of those nutrients that is in the soil. So each time you have to replenish the soil to prevent the leaching or the removal of nutrients from the soil. So it's advisable that you should do crop rotation so that the plant will get adequate amount of nutrients. And crop rotation means, like for instance, if you plant corn this time, next season you can add a cover crop. For instance, you can plant cucumber or pumpkin, something that runs as a cover crop, or you can plant maybe yam next time, or next time you can plant peas or bean that add nitrogen. It has nitrogen fixing to the soil. So I said discuss 3 reasons why crop rotation should be used. So 3 reasons are: one, the life cycle of pests and pathogens are broken. Different types of crop attract different types of pests and pathogens. So for example, if you plant corn this time, right, and its corn is affected by weevils, chances are there will always be weevil in the field. So to prevent the weevil from getting adjusted or from immune to the environment, you should plant something else, right? So for instance, you plant say peas, right? And they're eaten by green bugs, right? So when you rotate, for instance, if you plant corn first and then you plant the peas, if the weevil or the beetle doesn't feed on the peas, then they will want to move to our next location. So when you plant one crop and this pest feed on this type of crop, then the next plant you plant, then that pest won't be there because they don't feed on that crop. So that is one of the reasons why you should practice crop rotation. So the next one is inclusion of legumes increase soil nitrogen, and legumes such as peanuts, and so those add nitrogen to the soil. So you want the nitrogen in the soil. So that is one of the reasons why you do crop rotation. So the next one is different crops need different method of cultivation. So this improve soil texture. Different method of cultivation. For example, when you're planting yam or maybe cucumber, you normally plant it on a mound, right? So when you're planting maybe corn, you might just dig the hole to plant the corn. So this kind of gives a kind of turnover to the soil. So soil that are at the bottom can turn to the top. So you get that kind of, like you're using those nutrients that are in the soil. So you're turning over the soil. The next question is define the term transpiration. What is transpiration? So transpiration is basically a process by which plants lose water from their leaves and green stem. The next question is state one factor that influences the rate of transpiration. So it depends on how hot or cold or windy or warm the day is. So that's on a hot day, then the plant will produce tomato. Unlike a windy day or on a cold day. So it says state one factor that influence the rate of transpiration, and that would be sunlight. It's C. You have been appointed an agricultural science teacher to a secondary school in your country. Explain to your class one advantages and two disadvantages of using chemical insecticide for the control of insect pests and vegetables. So one advantage could be there is a larger storage life for food, better quality produce will be produced, which will last longer. So the disadvantage would be the increase in nitrate and phosphate in a river increase the growth of large algae. This creates an algal bloom in the surface layer of the water which block bacteria that uses up oxygen in the water. So the next question, name two diseases affecting broiler bird and broilers are the one that we use for meat, and two of these diseases could be coccidiosis or pox, or you can have the Newcastle disease. They say there's a table below, so say table 2 shows the feed consumed by broilers with the respective live weight produced. Fill in the missing heading on the line provided. So table 2 indicate that batch B require more feed than batch A to produce the same live weight. Give two possible reasons for this occurrence. So two possible reasons. One could be different feed were used, and the other would be the feed contain more crude protein than the other. In order for a chicken to increase in size, then you have to need protein, and protein encourage growth and development. So chances are one feed contain more feed than the other feed. So that could be those could be two of the main reasons. So 10A says, name two heads of bees that are found in the hive. And the bees are Name two kinds of bees that are found in the hive. So there are three main types of bees that are found in the hive. You have the workers, you have the queen, and you have the drones. So if you should name two out of the three. So say one function of each class mentioned in the parts above. So one function of each is for the queen, their function is for laying egg, and the workers carry out activity within the hive and also forage for honeys and pollen outside the hive. Okay. Farmer Doris is planning to purchase 1,000 brooders for her poultry farm, and as an agricultural extension officer, explained to Farmer Doris 3 reasons why he should provide a brooder for her broiler chicken. The three of those reasons is: one, when you have a brooder, it keeps the chick in one or in a confined environment. Two, they don't move up and down, when they're in this confined environment, so they will keep that weight. And next reason is the brooder help to keep them warm. It gives their body this kind of warm and when there's warm, it encourages growth. So that would be three main reasons. Okay. So the next question is, what is meant by asexual reproduction? And asexual reproduction is basically propagating plants without seeds. Asexual reproduction is the propagation of plants by vegetative parts, and it does not involve gametes. And the gamete mean like the male and the female. The male and the female gametes, right? So you can just use part of the plant to propagate the plant for it to look just like the parent plant. So the offspring will look just like the parent plant. So the next question is, name three parts of a plant. Name three parts of a plant or method used for asexual reproduction. So three parts of the plant that you can use. Hello, why are you disturbing the class? Yes. So three parts of the plant that you can use for propagation. You can use the leaf. You can use the leaf as leaf cutting. You can use the top of the plant for tip cutting. You can use the stem of the plant for stem cutting. And you have other cuttings like the root cutting. So it says, list two advantages of propagating plant by using vegetative method. One advantage could be the offspring will look just like the parent plant. One would also, next one would be, new plants are true to type as they are genetically identical to the parent plant. Large number of plants can be produced in a short time, and seed can be grafted on a disease-resistant stock. One B. So 1B says an ornamental farmer plants heliconia in his field and provide the necessary shades, water, and nutrients for proper crop growth. However, the crops exhibit poor growth. She was advised that the poor growth was due to soil being extremely acid. One, discuss which reason. Two, other effects soil acidic would have on the crop growth. So two other effects that it will have on the crop growth is it decreases the availability of plant nutrients such as phosphorus and moldium, and it increases the availability of some elements of level, particularly aluminum and magnesium. Two says list 3 measures that could be employed. It said discuss which reason how the farmer could solve this problem, and this problem in this case means the acidity of the soil. So the farmer could add lime. When you add lime to soil that are acidic, it will neutralize it. By adding, it can also add basic materials to neutralize the acid present. Also, bone meat, which is exactly what it sounds like, is a good source of calcium and can help to raise your soil pH over a period of time. So they normally say that bone contains a lot of calcium, so it also helps to reduce the acidic in the soil. In many Caribbean countries, little or no rainfall is a major constraint in agriculture. So the question is, list 2 ways by which water is not conserved or is lost by the soil. So 2 ways which water is lost by the soil is evaporation. And evaporation is basically when the water in the soil is dried up by the sun. And percolation losses. And percolation is basically when the water trickles through the soil, and also by leaching, and also transpiration. Yeah, transpiration can remove some of the water. So the next question is, list 3 measures that may be employed to conserve soil moisture. How can you conserve soil moisture? One, you could mulch the soil, especially when the time is hot and you mulch the soil. it reduces the amount of loss in the soil. The next one could be you could plant cover crop. When you plant cover crop, like for instance, pumpkin, cucumber, melon, as you say, cover crop, it covers the surface of the crop, so it helps to keep the soil cool, and it reduces the amount of loss in the soil. You could also use a timing device with any watering system, and that also can reduce the amount of water that the soil loses. So the next question is, a farmer clears a gently sloped forest area to plant his crop. He was informed by another farmer that the area could be high in organic material since it's under the forest cover for a long period of time. He said, this discussed three beneficial factors that the crop would derive from high organic material content of the soil when it's planted. So, one, because it is organic and it doesn't have that synthetic fertilizer, could develop a healthy, fertile soil by growing and rotating a mixture of crops. Adding organic matter such as compost or manure and using legumes to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere in the soil. Also, soil that has lots of organic compost nutrients as rich nutrients in the soil to grow strong and healthy crops. The next question is, discuss three conservation practices that may be used to minimize or to retain organic material content of the soil. So how can you help to keep these nutrients in the soil? Is one, you can make ridges, like step-like structures on slope to help to prevent or to reduce the flow of the water. Also contouring also helps to reduce the flow of water. You have bench terracing, you have the gabion basket. You can use the gabion basket to reduce the flow of water. You can use cover crop to retain the amount of moisture in the soil. Copy the table below in your answer booklet and complete stating the time to maturity harvest and the signs of maturity of the crop listed. So you have crop and rice. How long it takes to mature? 3 to 4 months. And this, all you know, our rice is mature. The grains are hard, or they're turning yellow to brown. The color or have the color change. So the next one is cabbage. How long cabbage takes to mature? 3 to 4 or 4 to 6 months. How do you know the cabbage is mature? It's normally hard, increase in size, and you can squeeze the head to make sure it is tough. Banana or plantain. How long does banana or plantain take to mature? You have 8 to 10 months. How do you know that a plant or banana is mature? It's increasing size and the development of the fruit. Tomato. How long does tomato take to mature? 2 to 3 months. How do you know when a tomato is mature? It increases in size, its color, and its shape. Everything. Name the first liquid secreted by mammal after the birth of giving young. So this fluid is called colostrum, and colostrum is the first milk given to a young suckling after giving birth, and it's normally rich in nutrients. It has all the nutrient that the body supposed to need. He said, give two properties of the secretion given in the parts. So it contains antibiotics to fight disease, and it has all the available nutrients in abundance. So that is whole reason why you should breastfeed. He said, apart from this secretion, what other essential element is required for normal growth of piglet during their first week? So you need iron. You need iron in order to grow. Everybody need iron, because if you don't get that iron, then you are going to be weak. You are going to be anemic. Iron helps to build you and help to be strong. If you don't have that amount of iron in your body, you're going to be anemic, you're going to be weak, and you won't be able to stand, and the piglet won't be able to stand and to eat. So you'll have to give the piglet iron. So the questions continue. How is this available element given to the animal? So you can give the animal iron through injection. So most of the time they would normally inject the young piglets to give them iron. It said, copy the following table in your answer booklet and fill in the blanks with appropriate response. So in the table you have under one of the heading you have adult female. The next one would be name of the young, and the next one be gestation or incubation period. So the adult would be a cow. What is the young of a cow called? So the adult female would be a sow, right? So the name of a young sow is called a piglet. And the gestation or incubation period would be 114 days. So the adult would be a cow. The name of the young of a cow is a calf. The gestation or incubation period. And gestation period is the time between conception to birth. The time when they get pregnant to birth. That is gestation period. So for the cow, it would be 9 months. For yo, which is the goat, and the young of the yo is called the kid, and the gestation period is 145 days. So the next one would be the hen. So the name of the young of the hen is called the chick, and it's 21 days. So the next one would be the doe, which is the rabbit, and the name of the young doe is called the doeling, and the gestation period would be 31 days. List 6 signs of illness in farm animal. How do you know when an animal is sick? One could be loss of appetite. The animal is not eating. So when the animal is not eating, you would realize that maybe something is wrong because normally it's eating. Isolation. And isolation means that the animal remove themselves from the rest of the animals. You have high temperature, increase in temperature. So if the animal has a high temperature, you know that something is wrong with the animal. Diarrhea. So if the animal is passing stool and it's loose, then you know that chances are the animal might pick up an infection or a bacteria. So the skin coat, the change of the animal coat. So if you realize that the animal's coat has changed from the regular coat that the animal has, then that could be a sign of illness. A farmer noticed a reddish liquid dripping from a teat of one of his cows, and the other is swollen. Name the type. Name the disease to which these symptom refers to. One, it could be maybe mastitis, because when the cow maybe when the cow has mastitis, the other is normally swell, and sometimes red, you know, red comes from the other. What type of organism is responsible for causing the disease? Name in the parts. It could be bacteria, developed by bacteria, because the cow didn't milk, you know. When the cow was supposed to milk, then they develop this type of infection, which could be caused by a bacteria. State two advantages of crossbreeding in dairy cattle. Alright, two advantages in crossbreeding is that one, you could get for instance, in cattle, in dairy cattle, you could get a cattle that produce more milk, right? And the next one could be, it could get a, because dairy has to do with milk. So one could be, you could get, next one could be, you could get a larger animal. I said, name one example of recommended breed that could be used to upgrade the breed of the following. Dairy cow could be Jamaica black beef, Jamaica oat, sheep, Angola, or the Nubian. The Nubian are big breeds, and the boar are normally the white and black one. They're mainly white, so those are good. Wait, sheep, sheep, goat. Farmer Abdullah recently had 6 newborn calves to his large dairy herd. 3 of the calves are bull, and the livestock officer advised the farmer to castrate the bull. Explain to Farmer Abdullah the stage in the process of castrating a calf. Alright, so the process in castrating a calf. So you should make sure that you have the right instrument to do the castration. You should make sure that you have different type of castration. You have the one where you can use the clamp, the one where you can use the Birdie's clamp, the one where you can use the sterile knife. Alright, so normally, as I said, the calf. So the calf would be young, and it's best to castrate them during this time because they're young and they will be they will be more easy to maneuver themselves and easy to outgrow the surgery done. Unlike for the cow, maybe take a longer time as well as chances are the cow will not survive. So you could use the birdies or clamp and you clamp just clamp just just clamp the card, and so this will damage the card, and after a while it will not be of any use. Then the bull calf won't be able to reproduce. If you lose the elastivator, you just put the elastic over the scrotum of the calf. So this is the scrotum. You would put the elastic. This would be the elastic. You put it over the scrotum like this. After a period of time, then it will stop. It stop the flow of blood. So this will actually damage the scrotum. So when it is damaged, you can remove the elastic. Also, you can use a surgical knife. So you should make sure that the surgical knife is clean, and you should sanitize the area. After you sanitize the area, you cut the scrotum and then you remove that scrotum that is inside. So the next question is, Farmer Abdullah told the livestock officers that his large dairy herd only produced 6 calves because he had been unable to recognize the sign of it in several of the young heifers. As an agricultural science student, discuss 3 signs of heat or estrus in young heifer. How do you know when an animal is on heat? Alright. An animal is on heat. The vulva would be swollen. Also, there would be mucus on the vulva, or it could be calling to the bull next door, or it could be making a particular sound, a loud sound that the animal doesn't normally make, right? Also, the animal could be moving up and down, like moving more than regular, just moving. All right, so on a field trip to an agricultural research station, your class visited a number of different units where professionals were at work. Name 2 professionals in the crop unit. So one could be an horticulturist, and 2, you have an agronomist. B. Name 2 professionals in the livestock unit. And livestock has to do with animal. So 2 of these could be, you have a veteran or an extension officers. Next question. At one unit, you were shown vegetable seedling showing signs of damping off. Name the agent responsible for this disease and give advice on a solution. A solution for the problem. So the agent could be the fungi, and the advice could be practice crop rotation. When you practice crop rotation, it's kind of impossible for the host or the agents to become adapt to the environment. So because there's a change of environment, they won't be able to adapt the way that they're supposed to be adapting. The next question. At one unit, you were shown cabbage with pale green leaf. Which plant nutrient is most likely to be deficient, and how can it be rectified? So the nutrient could be lack of nitrogen. And how could you rectify this? You could add nitrogen in the form of nitrogen fertilizer, NPK fertilizer, N, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. So next question is, from the list above, name four main factors of production: land, machinery, labor, fertilizer, capital, management, profits, input sale. So the four could be land, labor, management, and capital. So the next question is, Farmer David recently established a tomato enterprise but experienced problems when marketing the crop. He was advised to join a marketing cooperative. List three benefits he can obtain from such cooperative. So one, in most cases, a ready market is available for farmers in a cooperative. Two, the cooperative can advise the product on behalf of the farmer. Three, their voices have a sufficient effect when bargaining collectively rather than individually, right? So a cooperative where you have more than one person or group coming together so that they can establish or benefit from each other. The next question is, Farmer John keeps record of a fixed cost and variable cost of his dairy enterprise. Name two fixed costs and two variable costs. So two fixed costs would be the cost of machine, the building or capital. So fixed costs are things that don't normally change. um that you have, and the variable costs are things that they change like over a period of time. Imagine, like for instance, machinery, most of the time they don't really normally change, and if they do change, it take a longer time to change. Buildings and capital, they don't normally change. So variable from time to time, like for instance, you have change in feed and change in medication. So variable costs, for example, like feeds and medication. So over a period of time, we'd have the change in the price of the feed and the change in the price of the medication. The next question. Two livestock farmers, John and James, each have 100 head of cattle on their adjoining 10-acre farm. Farmer John keep accurate records and make a high profit. Farmer James does not keep record and his profits was lower. Discuss three reasons for the difference in income they receive from the enterprise. So one could be Farmer James is not able to keep track of the depreciation of the machinery while Farmer James have. So because one has a record and one doesn't has a record, the one that doesn't have a record, it doesn't have an idea what is going on in his business because there's nothing to show, for instance. There's no figure to show whether he's losing or gaining or what is it that is taking place on the farm. There's nothing to show. So the next one would be, in the case of Brady and larceny, Farmer John will realize that there is theft while the next farmer will not know if 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 they are losing anything on the farm, because if you have a record and for instance you know that this is what you had this month and next month you check or next week you check, then you will know what is it that was there. So you could match what was there comparing to what is there now. So you will know if the things that are there is still there or if the things that are there is not there anymore. So the next one could be Farmer John has access to the performance record of his stock, while Farmer James cannot do so. So if you have a record, you can know if your farm is doing great or if your farm is not doing great. So a record is there to show the effectiveness of the business, what is taking place, so you can know where or what are the areas you should improve. So it is important to keep record so you will able to identify the weaknesses and the strength in your business. Choose the appropriate response from the following list to fill in the blank in the table below. So you have feeding of broiler, which is included is your feeding of broiler, waterer, O, A level, plowing of land, leveling of field. So you have tools and in the table you have tools and equipment on one side, and on the other side you have agriculture activities. So under the tools from the list that you selected, some of the space are missing, and on the next side, agriculture activity, some of the space are missing. So you should fill in the right tool with the activity that it is used for. So the A level would be a tool and equipment, and the agriculture activity is used. It's for establishing a control line. So the tools and equipment would be a feeder, and the activity would be feeding of broiler. So the next tool and equipment would be a hoe, and the activity would be weeding the field. The tools and equipment would be a rotavator, and the activity would be the plowing of soil. The next question. Farmer Terry has purchased a simple milk machine for his small dairy unit. As a salesperson with the company that sold the milking machine, advise Farmer Terry on 3 steps that he must follow in cleaning the milking machine. Alright, what are the steps in cleaning the machine? So first, you should you should remove the parts of the machine, right? Right? You should the machine part should be sterilized with warm hot water. When you use the warm water, it helps to reduce or to prevent bacteria. Also, if detergents are used, rinse the compartment with clean water since milk readily absorbs odor. All parts such as the hose, the teat cup, and container should be allowed to dry before the next use. So because milk, um, when you use things that you use has to do with milk harbor a lot of bacteria, and these bacteria are not the good bacteria. So when after you use the milking can or the milking machine to milk the cow, it is advisable that you should wash wash the machine thoroughly. Use your soap, and you wash it, and you wash through the holes of the machine. After you wash the machine, you should rinse it properly, because you don't want any bacteria to pass from this one to the next cow that you're going to milk. So you rinse it, and after you rinse the container, the equipment that you use, you should dry them. You should dry them, because if the container is still wet and you put it down there and it is moist, so moist area is there to harbor bacteria. So the next cow that you milk, and milk is something that is easy to absorb bacteria, it's easy to get spoiled or contaminated. So the next cow that you milk, bacteria will be passed on to the cow and also into the milk that that comes from the cow. So the next question is, list four problems farmers would encounter in growing vegetable in sandy soil. And sandy soil are soil that most of the time are very loose, and it doesn't hold any nutrients because the soil particles are very large. It is hard for the soil to retain water, so it is easily leached. So plants that are plants in sandy soil, the soil doesn't have that amount of nutrient to give to the plant. So you have to, if you want the plant to have that amount of nutrient, you have to add um fertilizer or soil to the crop. So it said list four problems farmers could encounter in growing vegetable in sandy soil. Sandy soil. So one, there would be a stunt growth due to the lack of nutrients. Two, if fertilizers are added, leaching may occur. Three, fertilizer will be, you'll have to apply fertilizer frequently. And next one is due to the high loss of water, irrigation costs will be very high. So because this you lose so much nutrients, you'd have to cause just to be replenishing these nutrients to the soil. So that would be like a big problem, like a big loss, unless the crop that you are planting is mainly grown in sandy soil. So the next question is, describe three management practices that could be employed by farmers to remedy the problem experienced when cultivating vegetables in sandy soil. As I said before, because the sandy soil is very loose, it doesn't retain water, and it doesn't hold nutrients. So you could add organic matter and humus can be added to the soil, thus adding nutrients to the soil. So when you add humus and organic matter, it kind of hold the, if you add water to the soil, it kind of hold the soil, together, so you can have little water in, because if there's no humus, then the water will leach, and also it will retain the nutrients so that the plant can get it. So the next one is lime or calcium hydroxide can be added to the soil. So when you add lime kind of reduce, like lime most of the time kind of help the soil to add some kind of nutrient. Depends on the plant that you're going to plant in the soil. It kind of adds some kind of nutrients. Loam can be added to the soil also, and the loam soil is basically contain sand, silt, and clay. So that would be a good soil to plant in. The next question is list 4 ways in which water is lost from vegetable gardens. 4 ways could be leaching. 4 ways could be leaching, soil erosion, evaporation, respiration by plant, or transpiration. So leaching is basically the removal of nutrients when it rains or when water is added to the plants. The water will take all that nutrient with it. It will remove the nutrients from the plants. Soil erosion. When the rain falls, especially on the hillside, the water tend to carry the top part of the soil with it. And this leach the nutrient in the soil, remove the topsoil and all the nutrient that it can carry with them. Evaporation. On a hot day, then the vegetable garden will lose a lot of water compared to a day that is windy. Respiration and transpiration in plants. Yes, that also can help to lose a lot of water, especially on a sunny day when the time is hot. There will be lots of water. So the next question is Farmer Jane decided to plant her tomato crop such as dry season. Farmer Jane decided to plant her crops during the dry season. Name 3 practices that are required to ensure high yield. Okay, so in dry season most of the time there's not a lot of water, and for the plant to grow healthy they would need water, especially during the dry season. So how will you do this? You have to irrigate early in the morning, or you can irrigate late in the evening, or you irrigate late, or you irrigate regularly. So most of the time, like during the morning, the early morning or the late evening, during that time of the day, the sun is not hot. So it's advised to irrigate during that time because the plant will maybe get some amount of the water that is applied to the soil. Also, when you irrigate regularly, then this will give the plant some amount of water. Even though sometimes during the hot times when you irrigate, then the sun, then evaporation will take place, and then the plant will not get that amount of water that it was supposed to get. So the next question is list 4 causes of post-harvest losses in crop. So post-harvest is basically when you're harvesting land, when you're harvesting or when you're reaping. There's the 4 causes of post-harvest losses in crops. So one could be physical damage during packaging. So if you are a person, for instance, packaging tomato, and tomato is very delicate, then you will have some loss there, because after harvesting and you're about to package the tomato, you realize that it's damaged, and you won't put those in the package, so those will be considered as loss. The entrance of pathogens in the product. All right, so if for instance that the crop is damaged, chances are that pathogens will enter into the crops and it can damage it, right? For example, tomato. If the tomato is buttered, then after a period of time, then if that one is damaged, then it will contaminate the next tomato. So you have to remove that from the pack. So you don't want all of the tomatoes to be contaminated. So those that have been contaminated, you should remove those, or those which maybe have insect or whatever it is inside the crop, maybe corn or so. After the weevil or the worm, when those feed on those that have it, then after that corn is finished, then they will move on to the next crop that is in the container. So you should remove product that has pathogen. So the next one would be transpiration. Transpiration, right? And the next one would be improper storage of product before marketing. All right. So if you have, for instance, if for instance you pick the tomato when it's well ripe, normally you would put it in a cooling area so it would keep cool. And people don't normally pick tomato if you're exporting them when it's too ripe, because by the time you're supposed to export the tomato, then they will be too soft to be exported, then they will be damaged. And banana also, you don't normally export the banana. You don't normally cut the banana when it's ripe. You normally cut the banana when it's fit or when it's turned. So during that period now, you will able to put it down for a good period of time, because if the banana is ripe and you cut the banana and you're a person you don't know how to cut the banana, then chances are then the banana will be damaged. Even though it can be damaged when it's green, but post harvesting losses, yes, you would want to cut it at a stage where it will be beneficial. So the next question. A farmer planted a yam crop, which is a farmer planted a yam crop, which is harvested in a period of 4 months. The crop was immediately placed in a truck after harvesting and taken to the market. The farmer obtained a very low price for the product. Describe three ways in which the harvesting and post-harvest and the practice could be improved. 1. Take care when reaping so it can change sugar. 2. By improving the harvest time to 7 to 9 months. 3. Package the yam properly in crates to reduce damage during transportation. Alright, so when harvesting the yam, you should make sure that when you dig in the yam, if it's a yam that you are going to dig, you're gonna make sure you dig around the yam. You don't want to dig into the yam where you might cut the yam and it is damaged. You don't want that, because nobody doesn't want any damage put to buy. Also, because it is harvest during 4 months and it normally takes 7 to 9 months to harvest, you could increase the time so that it will take a longer time to mature, because chances are, because the crop was harvested when it was young, It didn't get the amount of time to mature. So when you have a 7 to 9 months, then the plant will get more sufficient time to mature. So it won't be that delicate during harvesting or transporting. It will be more firmer and it will be able to resist certain injury then. And also when transporting the yam, you could cushion the yam instead of just placing the yam instead of just placing the yam by themselves together. You could use maybe some trash to cushion the yam, like you place the trash in between each yam to kind of give it that kind of cushion so that the yam won't be that easily damaged. So it says choose the appropriate response from the following list and fill in the blank spaces in the table below. So these are what you should fill in this into the table. So you have muriate of potash, you have ammonium sulfate, you have triple superphosphate, you have decreased soil pH, supply plants with nitrogen. So in the table, you have fertilizer on one side, and on the other side, you have the purpose of the role. So you're going to list the fertilizer and the purpose or the role. So the first one would be triple phosphate. And what is the role of the triple phosphate is to supply plant with phosphorus. So the next one would be limestone. What is the role of the limestone? It increases soil pH. So the next one would be urea. What is the role of urea? Ammonium sulfate, right? So the next fertilizer would be muriate of potash, and it's to supply potassium to plant. So the next question is, Rita is a vegetable farmer who has 2 acres inside farm in a Caribbean country. During the visit to her farm, the agricultural extension officer advised farmer Rita that she should practice crop rotation as a student of agriculture. Explain to farmer Rita 3 advantages of crop rotation. Alright, so 3 advantages of crop rotation is it reduces soil erosion. The next one, it helps in the addition of nutrients to the soil. 3, it increase soil fertility, thus having very nutrient available. Alright, so crop rotation, it reduces soil erosion. So crop rotation is basically planting different crops, right? After reaping that crop. Like for example, if this time you plant corn, next time you might plant pumpkin. If you plant pumpkin this time, you plant peas the next time, you plant peas the next time, you plant crop. So this will help to reduce the soil. This this reduce soil erosion depends on the type of crops that are planted. Say if you plant like cover crop, the cover crop will help to reduce so crop rotation add nutrient to the soil. So different crops has different nutrient that it add to the soil. So each time you plant a different type of crop, then each time it will add a different type of nutrient to the soil. It also improves the fertility. Because when you plant different types of crops each time, then this will add different nutrients to the soil, then it will improve the soil fertility. Define the term balanced diet, balanced ration. So a balanced ration is a balanced ration is eating food from different food groups that are available. Also, this is all the food supply in the right proportion, just enough to satisfy growth and development. That would be a balanced ration. So the next question is farmer. So a balanced diet would include like your protein, your carbohydrates, your water, your vitamins, and your minerals. So when you eat food from these different food groups, then this will help to give you that balanced diet. It will help you to function in a way in which your body has all or most of the nutrients for you to function. The next question is Mohammed plans to purchase 500 broiler chicken to start a livestock unit on his farm as livestock officer for Farmer Mohammed community. Explain to him 3 ways of caring for the chick. How do one care for a chick? So 1. Provide litter on the ground which will absorb droppings and provide comfort to the litter at least twice daily. So the next one is adequate feed and water should be available at all times. And the next one is lighting is important. A bulb can be used to provide light for a walk. So you should provide litter for the animals to provide for their dropping. When you have the litter there, it helps as a form in which to cushion them, right? Also to cushion them, and it helps also to cut down on the ammonia, the urine that they pass. So the litter will also help to um absorb some of those urea, so that it doesn't burn the chicken, it doesn't burn the chicken as the young, because they are young and they are very tender, so they need the litter as a form of comfort or as a form of cushion. Also, they should get adequate amount of feed and water. So because they are young, so they will feed ad lib. So they will feed based on the amount that their body can hold or the amount that their body can take in. And also for the water, they need the water in order to help to process the food that they take in. So the water and the feed is important, because if you rob them of their water, then they will become dehydrated. And if you rob them of their feed, then they won't get enough nutrient or sufficient nutrient to grow. And also, you should provide lightning, maybe bulb or eat lamb. Because they are young, they need the bulb or the eat lamb to encourage growth. And when they are warm, then they will be able to grow and to develop into the type of chick that you need them to develop into. List 5 signs of illness in cattle. How do you know that a cattle is sick? All right, it could be change, change in the color code. If you realize that there's a change in the color code, chances are the animal is sick. Also, if there's a change in appetite, if the animal used to eat and then all of a sudden the animal is not eating, chances are that there is something that could wrong be wrong with the animal. Also, if the animal look droopy, if they look droopy, chances are that the animal something is wrong with the animal. If the animal become withdrawn, if the animal used to be amongst the rest of animal, and then you realize that the animal is by themselves, you know, chances are that the animal is sick. If the animal has diarrhea, if the stool is watery, then chances are the animal is sick. And most of the time when the animal has diarrhea, the animal should be rehydrated, because when you lose a lot of water, then it can be very hard for the animal. A farmer kept his pregnant sow in an open pen during pregnancy, and after farrowing, the sow gave birth to 10 piglets, which were kept with the mother and given the same feed at weaning. Only 2 piglets survived and both were underweight. Discuss 5 areas in which the farmer management was poor using the following heading. Feeding. Alright, so feeding, the piglets should given, as a piglet, they should be given the same feed as their mother. They should be given separate feed. For example, the starter. The starter is normally given to the piglets because those are the ones that they can manage. If you give them the soft feed, chances are they won't be able to digest it because the grains may be too big. Also, the starter could maybe has more protein in the feed compared to a sow, because the piglets are young and they need that amount of protein for development, so they're going to add more protein to those. For the housing, he said it was in an open area, right? So when you're in an open area, chances are You're exposed to different elements of the atmosphere, different temperature, different disease, pathogens, and therefore, and then they are young. Maybe their immune system are not well developed to deal with these types of pathogens or organisms that that their body has to go through. So therefore, in they have to be fighting this disease. So it's not easy to bring that amount of resistance. So that could be a next reason why the piglet them they didn't survive. Name two breeds that are rare in Caribbean for each class of livestock listed below. So you have the beef cattle, the Jamaica red, and the Jamaica brown. For the pig, you'll have landrace, and you have large white. For the layer, you have Rhode Island, and you have Island. For the broiler, you have the farmer. Vishnu is a dairy farmer who has 10 head of Creole or local cow. His son suggests that he should crossbreed two of the animals with the milk breed Jamaica Oak. As an agricultural science student, advised farmer Vishnu of three benefits of crossbreeding. Alright, benefits of crossbreeding. Alright, so one could be that you could get higher yield in milk, and two, they want, because this milk is the aim to get more milk, then we want to get higher yield in milk. Two, you want disease resistant. You don't want any breed of cow that won't resist the disease that are there. So you want breeds of cow that will be able to resist disease, right? Also, you want increase in production in milk. Okay, so here I Okay, guys. So that's it for today. Okay, guys. So good day, Patrice. You're late for class, and class is about to end. So you know you mark absent. You're going to mark absent for class today. You are late, and you're going to be on detention because you're late and you didn't get any of the notes. So you gotta make sure for next class, you're gonna read up on the different breeds of cow. And you're gonna do a presentation on the different breeds of cow. And make sure you're early for next class. So until next time, you're late. Besides, class is over and everybody leave. I'm the teacher that leaves behind because I was packing up my book. So until next time, have yourself a great day. Oh Lord. Next time, have yourself a great day and read. Reading maketh a full man, and knowledge is power. And encourage yourself to be great citizen, and also encourage others to be great citizen. Until then, be strong. Until then, be strong. Thank you, and the same to you. Have yourself a great weekend. Until we meet again, just be strong and be good. Goodbye until then.